How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. We got another Case Files edition of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I am here with Sophia and Ian Hultquist. Drum and Lace, Sophia goes by as well here. They are the composers of the hit. It's not a hit yet because it's not out, but I'm anticipating it's going to be a hit. New 20th Century Fox movie, Rosaline. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Of course. Thanks for having us. We're happy to be here.
So, you both had such incredible solo careers. Sophia with Drum and Lace, Ian, obviously with the recent I Know What You Did Last Summer series, and a plethora of incredible documentaries. What inspired you to decide to go it together and start composing some things as a team?
Well, actually, I Know You Did Last Summer was a collaboration of the two of us. But we've kind of been doing it unofficially for a long time. We kind of first started collaborating on stuff maybe like 2008, 2009. We would just kind of like lend each other's ears to whatever we were working on. Then we would start like helping with production ideas and stuff. And then we actually had a little band side project for a while. A long time ago. Played South by Southwest, played at shows around Brooklyn. And then I think when it came time to do the documentary First Monday in May, our director, Andrew Rossi, was like, this would be really cool if you did it with Sophia as a co-scorer. And I think that was like the first real like official step into doing that.
Yeah, so we've been working together for a long time, and I feel like we have our separate careers when people ask for just one of us, or when people come and ask for both of us, then we'll happily do a project together. But, it's never usually the case that somebody comes to one of us with a project and then we're like, you know what, we should do it together. It's usually like by request. But we've been working together quite a bit, and it's been really fun. Like, I definitely don't think the sound of Rosaline would be the same if it had been just one of us.
Yeah.
And one of the first tandem pieces that you two did that really caught my eye and was on a pretty large scale TV-wise and streaming platform-wise was Dickinson. And I'm curious, how did composing Dickinson, how did that help you land Rosaline?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like the kind of anachronistic work that we did for Dickinson was definitely something that could easily kind of fit in with, the Rosaline vibe as well. I think Dickinson was different just because the story called for a different type of humor and just a different type of kind of scoring overall, and with it being 30-minute television, you kind of get less of these musical moments. Whereas in Rosaline, we were able to, write these longer cues and do these montages. And but I do think that our work on Dickinson and kind of like breaking the mold of what you're supposed to hear with what you're supposed to see really kind of helped us get in the mindset quicker, probably.
Yeah, I think Dickinson was such a great education for us over the 3 seasons that we worked on it. We learned so much about writing for comedy and like how to help jokes land. We learned how to kind of like push genre a bit. Like Dickinson's very much a synth score, but like we did have moments, especially later seasons, where we would work on songs with the cast. We would kind of write for bigger, larger scale orchestral sounds. And I think all of that kind of like helped set us up to take on Rosaline.
You mentioned writing songs with the cast, and I'm interested how something like Dickinson differs from projects you've worked on already with one of the stars, Haley Steinfeld, being a musical talent herself. What was that collaboration process like, and how much influence did she have on your scoring?
So we never really had direct contact, even though she was a executive producer on the show. We were given kind of like notes down from the showrunner, Elena Smith, who definitely worked tightly with her. But the talent that we were able to work with kind of one-on-one was Ella Hunt, just because she sings a song called Split the Lark that we wrote essentially for her character. And then, you know, in season 3, there's a sing-along. And for that too, we were in touch kind of here and there with the actors. But a lot of the times it's like we're handing it off to people that are at like shooting on stage, or that are kind of in like this post-production machine. So we tend to kind of be a little bit separated.
Our music supervisor, DeVoe Yates, was incredible in that. Like, he kind of became the middleman because he would be on set in New York with the actors.
Yeah.
We were at our studio in LA, so it'd be a lot of constant phone calls with him, kind of delivering notes from everyone else.
And it kind of, the same thing kind of happened with Rosaline too, where the songs that we wrote, the cover songs that were in the movie, we communicated with Anna of the North that sings two of the songs, but it really was Maggie Phillips, the music supervisor, and Rosaline as well, who did a lot of kind of like the back and forth, and especially with set. She was the person that was talking to the first AD and Karen Main, and just kind of like helping coordinate everything from our end.
I was part of a press conference for Rosaline that Karen Main participated in, and she brought up how important it was to weave modernness into kind of the 13th, 14th century Romeo and Juliet feel. How did you go about choosing the songs? Was that something you collaborated with her? Did you get a list and then kind of go from there? What was the collaboration process like for song choosing?
I mean, they were really chosen by Karen and the music supervisor, Maggie Phillips. Later on, there was a few moments where we all couldn't really decide which song would be best. So we would actually kind of do a few different versions, and then we would pick which song we liked the most. But early on, it was mainly like, especially for like Robin and Enrique Iglesias, those were picked really early. And it was actually the first things that we worked on in the film. They handed us those songs that needed to be performed at the Masquerade Ball, and we're like, make arrangements for this that we could do on stage.
Yeah. The amazing thing is that they gave us the liberty, though, of being able to choose the instrumentation and who the instruments on stage were going to be. So essentially, we got to choose who was going to be playing on stage at this party, which was, really cool at the beginning, once you get brought onto a project, to have them be like, hey, so what's your Renaissance band going to look like? And we're like, oh my God. It was really cool.
That was one of my favorite parts of Rosaline. Is this movie, more than most, I find it really tells a story with the music. Each time a character is going through something, the song directly reflects the emotions that character has, or sometimes don't even know that they have, but the audience can kind of tell. How did this project differ to your past projects in terms of really telling a story with the music, or is that something that's always part of it and I just haven't clued in?
I feel like there are different ways of scoring things, like I feel like a lot of scores overall is more to like support the imagery, whereas we were really able to with the direction of Karen and just like with the team, to be able to really try to externalize what these characters were feeling or what they were thinking. Especially with Rosaline, since she's such a complex and layered character, So it was like you said, sometimes we would be anticipating what she didn't even know that she was feeling yet, But like, I don't know. So you definitely caught on to something that I feel like we haven't had a chance to do as much before. Like, I think we were more literal, musically speaking, in this project than we've been in the past, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are always big fans of thematic writing and scoring, but we're also fans of not having to lead the audience by the hand too much. But, depending on the project, sometimes you have to push a little harder than others. Sometimes you don't get to be like as thematic as you want just because like there's not enough time in the music to do it, or it's just maybe more of like a textual score. But I think Rosaline was fun because like it was very thematic. We got to kind of really play around with like leading at points and then, kind of letting the actor's performance lead us instead. It was there's almost like a dialogue happening on screen back and forth between the music and what the actors are doing.
The actors' performance, specifically Caitlin Dever and Sean Teal, really just made me adore this movie. It's one of my favorite rom-coms of the year so far. And what I'm interested is, what specifically drew you to this project? Have you always kind of wanted to participate in something Shakespearean, or was it this take of Rosalind's story, not Romeo and Juliet's story, but Rosalind's story, that really allowed you to have some fun with it?
You know, so Ian had gotten to work with Karen Main before. And funny enough, I feel like I was approached for it, but I think with the intention of probably working with Ian on it just because of his history with Karen. But very often, it's not as up to us as we'd like. This just happened to be one of those projects that it's like, if somebody had presented us a list, we would have definitely been like, hey, I want to try for this project. So it just kind of serendipitously worked out that we were sought out for the type of project that we would have wanted to do in this case. And I mean, we read the script and it was just so funny and interesting. And once we heard that Caitlin Deaver was attached to it, we are such big fans of hers. And she just has such a spectrum of acting, between doing extreme drama and then her comedic timing is so impeccable. So, and all the other actors, I love Minnie Driver. So when I heard that Minnie Driver was in it, Bradley Whitford, Chris McDonald, just everyone. And then, the younger cast, I don't know. It's just kind of like a dream come true in terms of what we could do sonically and the way it looks. I mean, it's just so lush and beautiful, and the costumes and everything. Yeah, we're thrilled.
Well, you certainly knocked it out of the park. What are some other kind of dream come true projects that are on the bucket list for the two of you that you'd love to collaborate on together?
Oh, together.
Yeah, I feel like we only think about things that we want to do separately.
Yeah.
I mean, together it would be really great to just kind of keep upping the ante and just doing movies that, we're every movie is full of talented people, but just kind of, upping the stakes, whether it's with more interesting instrumentation or a different type of story. I don't know. I feel like when we're together, we're sort of up for doing whatever, as long as it seems like it's a great, script and story and good people involved.
Yeah, it's just really exciting when you get to work on a project where everyone is kind of bringing their A game and is passionate about the story and really wants to support it the best they can. It really makes for such a fun experience. So anytime we get to work on a project full of amazing people, we're happy.
And what are some of the separate endeavors you're looking to tackle? Because I know as soon as you talked about the individual exploits, both of your eyes sort of lit up a little bit there.
I don't know. I've been working in horror a little bit, and I would love to continue exploring that avenue. Just because I really find myself drawn to the sort of vocabulary that exists, that can exist within the world of horror. So I would love to do more of that, or, I love me a highbrow A24 movie, something kind of along those lines. So that's kind of where I would love to kind of keep going, which is very different from Ian's, I think.
I would love to do something in the world of your room decor.
Who's your dream superhero or dream type Star Wars movie you would like to get on?
I mean, if Giacchino doesn't want to score Spider-Man 4, I'm available. So they can give me a call.
Have you seen Werewolf by Night?
I did, actually. Yeah, it was really fun. It was great.
Oh, so incredible. He did such a great job of directing and composing that one as well. You've both had so many incredible individual exploits already. Sophia, Drum and Lace, your debut LP, Natura. Ian, you have Netflix original film Plus Minus coming here. Outside of, make sure you go see Rosaline on Disney Plus because it's fantastic and you both did a great job. What can you leave our listeners with that you have going on that you want to make sure they check out?
I have season 2 of One of Us is Lying on Peacock coming out next week, I think, October 20th. And I'm currently working on Hannah Mark's new film called Turtles All the Way Down, also again with Isabella Merced.
And I have a horror movie that I finished but doesn't have a release date yet called Cobweb, which is going to be really scary and great.
And you said films come out.
Yeah, and I had a few films come out in August. I had another horror slasher movie called They Slash Them come out with Kevin Bacon, and a movie that was at Sundance called Summering, directed by James Ponsoldt, that was out in theaters, actually, which was really nice in August. But yeah, we always have something going on. a lot of stuff we can't talk about quite yet, but keep an eye out.
Absolutely, we will. And when that stuff starts popping, we would definitely love to talk with you again. And Sophia, we have an amazing creator, Jade Ruffalo, who focuses on horror films and slasher films, and she's done some great work so far. She's actually the one who reviewed Werewolf by Night for us. And so if you would like to link back up again and talk specifically about those your horror endeavors, we'd love to make that happen as well.
Yeah, anytime.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this with us today. You can find this interview up on agentsoffandom.com, our YouTube page, all of the socials. It's Agents of Fandom everywhere except for Twitter. It's just at Agents Fandom there. So make sure you check that out. Thank you so much for joining us today. And that'll do it. Thank you so much.